Welcome back everyone, I'm K-Plays Games, this is EVE Online, and it's time for us to take out another pirate or faction cruiser and run some escalations, hopefully, in Highsec space. As you may see from our surroundings, we are no longer in the Amar Empire. We've come all the way back to the Caldari state where we began this series, and we're going to do some Caldari and Guristas stuff. And the ship we're going to be using today is the Caracal Navy Issue. This is what it looks like. It's just a slightly different paint job on a normal Caracal. And here are its bonuses. Per level of the Caldari cruiser, you will get a 6% bonus to Rapid Light Missile, Heavy Missile and Heavy Assault Missile launcher rate of fire. So at level 5, like I have, that's a 30% bonus to your rate of fire. So that's obviously more damage. And you also get a 5% bonus to Heavy Missile and Heavy Assault Missile explosion radius. Not light missiles though, just Heavy and Heavy Assault. Explosion radius is damage application, so again at level 5 you will get a 25% bonus to your damage application. So this thing has damage and damage application. That's really rather nice. Fitting wise, it has 6 high power slots and 6 missile launcher slots. This is a little bit annoying for us because we really want to fit a probe launcher, which means we'll be reduced to only 5 missiles. This may knock down our DPS a little bit, but as we know, the ship does get a big DPS boost from its traits, so maybe it's not going to be so bad. And we know that we're going to be working in mostly Highsec, so we don't really need all that much damage. And of course, losing a missile launcher means we're also losing the power grid and the CPU needed to fit it. So maybe we can fit a better tank in lieu of more damage. It has 6 medium power slots, 3 low slots, and 3 rigs, but 400 calibration for these rigs. Pirate cruisers have 350 calibration. This is a faction cruiser, so that has 400 calibration. It has 25 megabit a second drone bandwidth and a 25 cubic meter drone base. We can get a full flight of 5 light drones on this thing. That's quite nice. So that's enough chatting about what this ship can do. Let's actually make a fit. First thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to get the drones in. We'll do 5 Caldari Navy Hornets. A, because we're working in Caldari space where Guristas are going to be the enemies, and Hornets do nothing but kinetic damage, and that is the best damage to fire at them. And because Caldari Navy Hornets have more shield than any other drones, so they can survive a lot more. Where are they? 432. If we take a look at the ones in our drone bay, when it's got our skills applied, they have 540 shield hit points each, so these little guys should be fine. Right, let's do the high slots next. That's going to be easy. Because we're going to be doing the 4 out of 10 escalation, if we find any, we really want to be long range, so I'm going to do 5 heavy missile launcher 2s. It is less damage in heavy assault, but it does mean we can fight from a longer range. And in PvE, longer range makes everything easier. And we're going to do a Sisters Core Probe Launcher. Get some charges on these things, get some Sisters Probes in there, get another 8 in cargo. Now for the missiles, we know that we've lost 1 missile launcher to fit this probe launcher. So we want to max out our damage, so I'm going to go Scourge Fury Heavy Missile. That's a Tech 2 high damage. We mouse over, the maximum flight range is 47 kilometers, which is still respectable. These Fury missiles do have a larger explosion radius and slower explosion velocity than Tech 1 or faction missiles, but then the ship does have a damage application bonus which should cancel that out, so it should still kill frigates just fine. And we've got these 5 light drones for killing frigates anyway, so they'll be fine. Caldari Navy Scourge is the other option. That puts the range out to 63, so it's longer range than the Fury, but the DPS does drop quite significantly to 287. So we'll do Fury, and it's 323. One interesting thing about this particular Caldari ship is that it is not locked to kinetic damage. As we see, if we put Nova Fury, still 323. Mjolnir Fury, still 323. Doesn't matter which damage type you use, it gets the same damage with all of them. But we'll be using Scourge anyway, because that's kinetic, and that's what we need to be fighting. Right, let's do 3 ballistic controls in the low slots. Do 3 of those just to push the damage out to 479. That's nice. Now we've got lots of power grid and CPU. Let's attempt to get a large shield booster on this thing. We'll go for a Tech 2 and large compact cap battery to run it. It's not looking good. Let's get the resistances up with a multi-spectrum shield hardener. I don't think we've got enough power grid left for a micro watt drive. Let's see. Maybe a compact. And we could put a restraint, but then we've still got 2 mid slots to fill and only 6 CPU left. So let's go for an afterburner. Do a Tech 2 afterburner. And because it's one of our exploration ships, I really do want to get a sensor booster on this thing. And we'll load that with a scan resolution script. Ignore what's going on in the background. That's these stupid little robot Bob things just doing strange things to my escape pod. And also to aid the damage application, even though the ship does have an application bonus, the bonus kind of balances out the Scourge Fury, so it needs to be even better application. So I'm going to do a Tech 2 missile guidance computer with a missile precision script. Okay, the CPU is very unhappy. I could change the afterburner and shield down to compact. Okay, we'll try that. I don't really want to put a CPU ring on this thing, so we'll compact both of those. Go compact afterburner and compact multi-spectrum shield hardener. Okay, CPU's just barely holding on, but that's all you need. Right, let's turn the afterburner off. So with the sensor booster, missile guidance computer, shield hardener and shield booster all running, the cap only lasts 2 minutes 32. That's not good enough. Let's do one engineering rig. Either a semiconductor memory cell or a capacitor control circuit. We just mouse over them, see which one looks to be giving us the most. Looks to be semiconductor memory cell this time. Still only 3 minutes 44, which isn't great. I don't really want to do more cap rigs because I was hoping to get the resistances up, because that, even though we are repairing 6 to 9 hit points a second, which is a nice amount of repair, the resistances are really bad. But we don't have a free high mid slot for another shield hardener. I mean, we could take off the sensor booster and do a targeting controller rig, but it's not as good as the sensor booster. So to get the resistances up, I'm gonna just block out the last 2 rigs with a kinetic and a thermal reinforcer. 62 and 71, that's a bit more like it. Okay, this cap is still not good enough. We could of course drop down to a medium shield booster, but that will put the repair amount down to something like 35, and that's just not good enough. I've seen in previous videos with armor tank ships, armor repairers have round about 42 to 45 hit points a second, and they were barely holding on. So a medium shield booster doing 35 would not be enough. In fact, how much is a shield booster? How much is a medium shield booster? Yeah, 34.7. It's not good enough. I really want to have a large on this thing. So one way we can get more cap is to reduce the damage a little bit more. I mean, 479 is more than a lot of the ships we've been using on this series. A lot of them have been in the high 300s, low 400s. So if we take off one of our 3 ballistic controls, we'll lose a bit of damage, but then we can get something like a cap flux coil on. And that's not going to be a huge issue. A, because we know that 435 damage is enough, but we are only losing 44 DPS by doing that. That's not a huge issue. So we'll do a cap flux coil. Tech 2. 7 minutes 10 is better, but still not quite good enough. Have we got enough power grid and CPU for a Tech 2 large cap battery? No, nowhere near. Okay. Could try making the shield hardener enduring as well. 13 minutes. Maybe we can change out that cap rig for a cap control. Because capacitor rigs are weird. Depending on what other things you fit to the ship and how you change your fit, sometimes it changes which cap rig is best. 1332. Hey, now apparently the medium capacitor control circuit 2 is the better option, because now at least the ship is barely only just stable with the rep and the hardener and the damage application stuff running. So that's pretty good. Still 435 damage all the way out to 47 kilometers. That's alright. With the afterburner running 7 minutes 12, well, we have to have the afterburner running that long. We can probably swap that compact out for an enduring as well, actually, now I come to think of it. 9 minutes and 8 seconds. Will we have to have everything running for that long? Probably not. That looks pretty good. I think that's how we're going to go. Because we do want it to be stable, because we do want to warp from site to site to site, and warping does chew cap. But we also need to have the shield repairer running all the time, because we are going from site to site, hopefully. So I think that's how we're going to go with this fit. It's kind of just over 400 DPS, but that's good enough. It's got damage application traits, it's got a damage application module, it can target things fast. With the afterburner on, it moves at 683. It's not the fastest, but then its long range. It doesn't need to be fast. Right, so I shall go and purchase this, and we'll have a look at what the ship looks like, see if we've got any skins, and then we'll find a constellation to farm some sites. And here we are in our newly purchased Caracal Navy Issue. Again, it looks like a Klingon bird of prey, but that's just how it goes. Let's see if we've got any decent skins. We've got 3 skins. We've got Biosecurity Responders, we've got Halcyon Dawn, and we've got Hunter's Quiver. Ew, let's go Halcyon Dawn on this one. Let's go gold and black. There are, of course, many other skins available. And there we are. Right. I shall meet you in space when hopefully we'll be running some sites. Let's get out of here. Okay, we've made it to my target constellation. There's no decent combat sites here. There is a cosmic signature. That crimson gauntlet you see on the left hand side is because at the time of recording this is during the Crimson Harvest event, so we will not be losing our ship in that site, thank you very much. One other thing I need to tell you, I did buy a mobile tractor unit just in case we try to snipe the loot dropping structure in the Guristas 4 of 10 if we're lucky enough to find one. And if we're good enough to snipe it. I don't quite think we've got enough damage, or maybe not even enough range to snipe it, but if we do, we've got the mobile tractor unit to bring the stuff to us. So wormhole, don't need that. Right, on to the next system then. There are many people in local chat, because this is Caldari space. We're not in the Mar anymore where it's nice and quiet. There is high competition for sites here, especially at the moment during the event. There's another event site, so we'll just ignore that and get that off the search as well. So yeah, Caldari space, very busy. Lots of competition.
Drive active.
Alright, we found some Guristas refuges. Let's go. I'm not going to do the Forsaken Hideaway, because Forsaken Hideaways don't give you an escalation. You do, of course, have a 5% chance of a commander to spawn. But we're all about the escalations, as are probably all the other 7 people in the system with me at the same time. It doesn't matter what distance we warp in at, because we use missiles, so we don't care about angular velocity or any of that nonsense. If we're in range, we'll hit. I'm going to put the drones out as well, they can come out to play. Let's see how well these heavy missiles do against frigates. Well, we volleyed that guy, so that's nice. There are various myths about refuges and these gun turrets. Some of the myths say that if you do not destroy them, then you increase the chance of a commander or an escalation. This is not the case, that is a complete myth. I've been playing EVE Online since 2008, and I got so sick and tired of hearing this myth, I went to the great trouble of actually spreadsheeting all of it. I ran several thousand of these sites. I kept track of everything, whether or not I killed the towers, whether or not I got a commander, whether or not I got an escalation. Then at the end of several thousand sights, it turns out that the chance was 5%, no matter what. So do not listen to anyone that says attacking or not attacking these towers changes anything about the site, because it does not. The name of the commander we're looking for will be a Dread Guristas something. So everything else will be Pithy or Pitham or Pith or Pithior. If you see anything that says Dread Guristas, kill it immediately and grab its wreck, because it may very well drop some very nice things. I mean, damage application seems not to be a problem, even though we're using heavy missiles, which are pretty bad anyway against small targets, and Tech 2 heavy missile ammo, which is even worse. But because of our precision script and the precision trait that the ship has natively, we're doing just fine. Right, no commander, no escalation, but we've got another 3 of these to do in this system.
Warp drive active.
Just reload my missiles on the way in. That's another good thing about using heavy missiles as opposed to rapid lights. We reload in 10 seconds and not 35 seconds like rapid lights do. Tank was absolutely fine. Drones out. Missiles ready to go. Hey, myself and the drones killed something at the exact same time. That's what you call combined arms operations. I do wonder if we can get away with like 3 missiles on one and 2 on another. Not quite, doesn't look like. Looks like we need maybe 4 missiles to one-shot a frigate. In that case, we'll just stick as full volleys of 5. I'm not going to group the weapons because I like seeing... usually if they were guns I would like seeing the hit quality, but missiles don't suffer from that. I'm just being really lazy. And I'm not hiding all the passive modules simply so that everyone watching the video can see the entire fit at a glance. And hopefully there should be no posts below saying, can you show me the fit please? A, because you skipped over the first part of the video when I built the fit, and B, you should be able to work out what everything is just by looking at this. The fit will of course be in the description below. I also don't like hiding passive modules just in case I accidentally overheat something for a cycle and cause some damage or even burn out a passive module. If you've hidden it, you won't see that it's burnt out. Maybe you'd accidentally burn out your large cat battery and then wonder why your tank was only lasting 20 seconds. That's because you accidentally burned out that module that you cannot see. I mean, we're just crushing these sites, just no trouble at all. Damage application from heavy missiles is absolutely fine. Couple of volleys. Easy. Still no boss though.
Warp drive active.
I think just between sites I'll just turn the shield booster off just as we're warping, just to let the cap recover, because we do know that the ship is only barely cap stable at like 32%, and warping consumes cap, and that might push it under the threshold at which it's cap stable. And we'll just turn it back on as soon as we enter the site. That's not an issue. Right, here we go, site number 3. There's basically 2 versions of the refuge. One of them drops you pretty much at 0, the other one drops you around 12 kilometers. When it comes to hideaways, there's 2 versions of those. One of them drops you about 12 and the other one drops you about 30. But again, not a problem for us. We don't have to care about angular velocity or turrets. Just as long as something's within 47 kilometers, we can hit it with our missiles. Then it comes down to the difference between our missile's explosion velocity and the speed of the target, and the size of the missile's explosion radius versus the target's size. That's why we have the precision script. That's why you'll notice things like destroyers end up taking more damage from our missiles than frigates do. It's because they're larger, slower targets. I'm very surprised that none of the other 7 people in this system are running these sites. But you know what? I ain't complaining. It can be good and bad to do this kind of activity during events. It does mean that most people who are in the system will probably be doing event sites because there's a perception that they're better than normal combat sites. But of course it does mean there will be more people than usual in the sites. And sometimes if they cannot find an event site, they'll actually run normal sites.
Warp drive active.
Been going for a while, still haven't found any commanders or any escalations. Let's see what version of the hideaway this is. This is the short range one that drops us at about 12 to 15 kilometers. Here's the same guy in the Arthurs that's been following us around. Looks like he's banking to leave, so that's nice of him. And away he goes. Well, no commander, no escalation. Onwards we go.
Warp drive active.
I'll keep trying in various constellations when we get a commander or an escalation, because I'm not going to stop until I do. I will, of course, bring you back. Wish me luck, and away we go. Ah, we have the first commander of the run. This is a Dread Guristas invader. Dread Guristas is the important part. That's the name of the commanders. Looks like it might be in a difficult to get to spot, but it is the first commander. Still no escalation. There's only 7 other people in this system, not like 68 like were in the previous one. Let's see what this guy's dropped. Absolute garbage. Oh well.
Warp drive active.
We'll keep trying. I think another system been and gone. Still no escalation. It's just that one commander. I am going to do these 2 dens if no one else is doing them, because they can trigger a 5 out of 10 escalation, and the commander is always a cruiser, so they can drop nice things. And this is indeed the cruiser version. I know that because it has heavy missile batteries. There are 2 versions of den. One has light missile batteries and will spawn destroyers and frigates in each wave, and the other one, which is the one we have, has heavy missile batteries, and that will spawn cruisers and destroyers. But even if you get the one with the light missile batteries that only spawns frigates and destroyers, the commander, if he does spawn, will be a cruiser. Now, you cannot ignore the missile batteries in dens because they are actually the triggers for each wave, or an additional trigger for each wave. So you may kill all the ships, and then no more ships appear, and then you'll just warp out because you think the site is done. But no, if you'd killed the missile batteries, you may have spawned another wave. Yeah, heavy missiles versus big fat slow cruisers. Hundreds of damage. Lovely. You may want to take out the heavy missile batteries anyway, because heavy missiles hurt. Drones, kill the frigates, please. There you go. I'll get the cruisers Again, most of the enemies are shield tanks, so it takes a little while to get through their shields, but as soon as the shields go down, they absolutely evaporate. Like that. Boop. Another one gone. So I'll smash this heavy missile battery with my missiles. We'll have a heavy missile face-off, and I think I'll win. Yep. Sometimes when you destroy the missile batteries, it spawns another missile battery. Sometimes when you destroy them, it calls in more ships, and sometimes when you destroy them, it does nothing. Is this the final wave? It was not the final wave. Even if I was to trigger a 5 out of 10 and it spawned in Highsec, I would not attempt it in this ship. I would get a much stronger ship. Like a Cerberus, a Tech 2 version of a Caracal. Just check the rec listing, just in case I missed the boss somehow. Instead of saying Guristas small rec or Guristas medium rec, it will say Guristas medium commander rec. So you can always check if you missed the boss.
Warp drive active.
Right, let's do this other den. And this other den is the light missile battery version. So this will spawn frigates and cruisers. No, it will spawn frigates and destroyers. And if it does have a commander, the commander will be a cruiser. The E-War of Guristas is jamming. If you get jammed, you will lose all locks except for the ship which is jamming you. Jamming was changed quite some time ago to be a taunt. It's not a huge problem for what we're doing. If we get jammed, we'll just target lock the jammer and kill them first and then move on. In level 4 missions, it can be a little bit of a pain, especially if the jams land in a cycle. Like battleship number 1 will jam you, so you start shooting at battleship number 1, and then battleship number 1 stops jamming you and battleship number 2 jams you, so you have to switch your shooting to battleship number 2. Whilst you're doing that, battleship number 1 is repairing its shields, and then battleship number 3 will jam you, so you have to stop shooting at battleship 2 and start shooting at battleship 3. And if their cycles sync up like that, they can keep dragging your aggression all the way around them, and you can never actually kill anything. Sensor boosters are a way around that. If you run them dry, then they have if you run a sensor booster related script, it does improve your E-War defense. And there are ECCM scripts which you can load, use with ECCM script, and that will double up the sensor bonus, which is your defense against ECM. So if too many jams land you, just fit a sensor booster or a signal amplifier. Sensor booster is the best one because I can have the scripted ECCMs, and then it should be much easier. But usually you just target whatever's jamming you and kill it. You've just got to hope you've got enough damage to do that before your target gets pulled to something else. Not a huge issue when it's frigates. When it's battleships, it can be a bit tricky. Another wave. And that's the end of that den. Well, a couple of systems over, I've finally found a combat site via scanning, but it's only a drone-haunted yard. We will run it because it does have a guaranteed commander spawn. I did not, however, load any Mjolnir EM missiles on my fit. Wasn't expecting to find drone sites, but here we are. I'm sure we'll be fine with kinetic. It's not as if they're immune to anything other than EM. EM just does slightly more damage to drones. My drones have split their fire because focus fire doesn't work. You mouse over the drones in space, you hit this little option here and you hover over focus fire and it says, should drones focus their efforts on a single enemy? And you click yes. Do they do that? No. Has it ever worked properly? Also no. Are the developers unable to fix it? Looks like the answer to that is yes. Now this signal has just popped into existence, but it's way out on the edge of the system. Now one secret is that every site will be within 4 AU of a planet. That goes back to the olden days of EVE Online. So what I've done, I've put my probes at 4 AU and centred them on the planet, and I'll scan.
Warp drive active.
And if I've done this correctly, this should instantly just zip over here, somewhere in here, and become a red dot. Or even a yellow ping, and it's become a red dot. That meant instead of starting my scan at 16 or 8 AU, I was able to start it at 4 and save myself an entire scan cycle. Haunted Yard is a single room. We're at the in gate now.
Warp drive active.
This ping is probably going to be a data site, which means it's going to be an event data site, which we are not going to be doing. Okay, this is the drone haunted yard. There's 4 cans all the way in the back, these leaking casks. When you get close enough to them, the site is considered complete and the signal will disappear from the scan. There are between 1 and 6, it is a data site. There are between 1 and 6 of these Strain Investor Alvae. Now, Strain have Warp Jam and Web. And I don't want to be Warp Jammed and Web, so let's kill them first. With the drones as well. There we are, I've been webbed and Warp Jammed. I don't like that. This is quite a lot of them. 4 is... ugh. I just need to get to the cans to despawn the site. The commander will spawn pretty much where that ghost ship thing is. But that comes in the final wave of the site. You have to kill everything else. There's quite a lot of killing to do, but as we see, it's not a huge issue. We're firing kinetic, which is their second highest resist, but it's still only 25%. No, drones, kill the thing that's webbing me, idiots. Now, these leaking casks will each contain a first tier's Overseer's personnel effect, which can be sold to Concord on the market for about 1 ISK or something each. They're basically worthless. But the main reason I want to get over here is to despawn the site so no one else can find it, so I'm left to farm the rest of the site in peace. And because they do have a very small chance to actually spawn some faction in... I think it used to be Dead Space 3. I think they got rid of the Dead Space stuff. It was the first tier. Yeah, worth 11,000 ISK. This scratched and dented keycard is connected to the 1 out of 10 Guristas DED site for some stupid reason. That key lets you in the first gate of that site. And I don't know why it's here in this drone site. Because this drone site is not limited to Caldari space. You will find it everywhere. So you'll be all the way down in Amar and you'll find that key card and you wonder what it's for. It's for nothing. It's for something all the way up here in Caldari space. Again, do not know why a drone site is giving you keys to a 1 out of 10 Guristas site. Go figure, this harks back to the ancient days when 1 out of 10 and 2 out of 10 were not found via scanning or escalation. They were beacons on the overview all the time, available 24 hours a day. And the way they would work, they had a gate which was locked, hence the keys, and the key dropper would only respawn once every hour. So of course, on the hour. Every hour, these sites got botted and farmed to hell, because you would instantly kill the key spawner, grab the key, take the gate, finish the site, get the loot, go back to the start, AFK, come back in an hour. It was very easy to bot, so it got botted to hell. So eventually the static sites were removed and put into the exploration system, but unfortunately the developers did not move them into being escalations from anything. So sites like burrows, which do not escalate to anything, should have been changed to provide either a 1 of 10 or 2 of 10 escalation, but they didn't do that. So now 1 of 10 and 2 of 10 are only found via scanning. 1 of 10 only allow frigates in, 2 of 10 allow frigates and destroyers. They're fairly rare, and that is the story of why this site gives you 4 keys to the... There's the sentient, that's the commander, that's the only thing we need to kill. So that's why this site gives you keys. Now, no other sites give you keys for any of the other gates and any other races 1 or 2 of 10. So I'm still unsure why this site is different.
A module has run out of charges.
And it's just dropped a whole load of absolute garbage. Well, that's to be expected. Right, I'll go and identify a new constellation and we'll keep trying, because I'm going to keep going until we get a 4 of 10. The whole point of these videos are to show you these ships running the 4 of 10s. I'll see you, hopefully, in just a few minutes. Well, we found something very rare. That is a gas site in Highsec. These are rarer than teeth in a chicken. Wow. They're absolute garbage quality when you do find them, but wow, we've actually found a gas site in Highsec. Well, you join me several hours later in yet another different constellation. Finally found a combat site in the wild with our probe scanners. It is a Guristas Guerilla grounds. This is a 3 out of 10. So let's have a go at this.
Warp drive.
This is very similar to the Angel 3 out of 10. It's like 17,000 rooms with 6 million frigates in each of them. It's a real pain in the balls to run. But I found it. I found nothing else on this run, so I'm going to do it and hope that no one else is already in here.
Warp drive active.
D-scan says we're clear. Doesn't mean no one's in here, just means if there is anyone in here, D-scan cannot see them. There has been a lot of competition in Caldari space. That's to be expected. That's what this place is like all the time. Huge competition for sites. Nobody's really been contesting each site. As soon as someone warps in on top of me, they leave, and as soon as I warp in on someone else running a site, I leave. Courtesy is good, but it does of course mean that between us all, we're farming all the sites very quickly. Each gate will not open until you've killed everything in the previous pocket. I'm going to turn my shield boosting off, I don't need it at the moment. Must remember we do only have 47 kilometer range on our missiles. That's okay, as we approach the gate we're bringing both of these groups into range. Oops, accidentally sent the drones to the wrong group there, sorry chaps. Carry on with what you were doing. Let's bring the drones back and prepare for room 2. I do not believe anything in this site drops anything at all other than the big boss in the final room.
Warp drive active.
But they can drop some pretty nice things. Very rare that you find this site. As I said, it's only found via scanning. Again, we'll just approach the gate with the afterburner on. We don't have to worry about wrecking our own angular velocity because it doesn't apply with missiles. So just fire missiles at everything, spit the drones out, they can go and just do whatever. Yep, lots and lots and lots of frigates to kill. I think I may put 1 missile on each target and the drones on a 6th. And we'll just annihilate everything. Just wanted to see how much damage our missiles do individually, and it's just not all that much. We are better off doing volleys. And just wanted to check that I wasn't doing overkill, like I could have split into a group of 2 and a group of 3. Not quite. I hope we've got enough missiles for this. Yeah, I've got 4,000. I've chewed through a third of the missiles I purchased when I bought the ship. Needed to have bought some more, to be honest. Come on, drones. Get back on board. Away we go. Into room 3.
Warp drive active.
Everything looks like it's kind of in range from where we are. I don't want to approach the gate because I'll move further away from these guys. Oh, it's fine. Everything has... The full room has decided to aggress me. Well, that's good. That's a good thing. That means the drones will just automatically work their way through the whole room. This is a very good thing. And that also means I can approach the gate. Might need to turn the shield booster on at some point in this room. Depends how fast we knock down the incoming DPS. And apparently we're in the final room. At long, long last. This dread Guristas Irregular is the boss. That is all that matters. So we'll just approach him, turn the afterburner on, double click. Kill him from where we are. Grab the loot and get out. God, I hate these 3 of 10s. They're so long and so boring. At least the Serpentis one has things that actually drop loot in each room. This one does not. It's just sheer boredom. Right, that's him dead. Let's destroy the cruiser as well, because why not? When we look on the salvage tab, it is an overseer frigate wreck. If you have salvagers, you can salvage it and it will provide you some Tech 2 salvage, which can be worth a pretty penny. Not that we care about that. Let's turn the afterburner on, you idiot. I did wonder why we weren't moving so fast. Then we'll just rack up some more bounty on the way in, because why not? Burn some more missiles. And our reward is... nothing but the Overseer's box, because of course it was. Oh dear.
Warp drive active.
All that for literally nothing. This stupid box worth 600,000 ISK. Disappointment. Well, finally, we have ourselves a 4 out of 10 escalation. And it's in Highsec, not very far away, and we can get to it easily, so that's great. This is 3 days later. I've been farming these sites in Caldari space for 3 days. There are not very many sites around, there's a lot of competition around, and it's taken me 3 days to get to 1 escalation. That's RNG for you, I suppose.
Warp drive active.
Alright, here we are in the escalation system, so let's do this thing.
Warp drive
This
active.
is in Anaya, which is a Triglavian minor victory system, which is what this is. So we are getting a 15% bonus to remote armour and remote shield boost, which doesn't affect us, and a 50% penalty to the maximum number of locked targets. Not a huge issue. We've just gone down to a maximum targets of 4. Other than that, it doesn't affect us.
Warp drive active.
There are 2 rooms to this site. First room, you have to do a full clear. There is an officer in this room who is Tech 2, so he will spawn Tech 2 salvage if you have a salvager. And he'll also drop an Overseer's personal effects loot box. That is him, the Guristas Scout Officer. But I'm going to start working on all the other cruisers first. Turn all my stuff on. And we'll see how this thing does. Shouldn't be a huge issue. We've got a really good fit. The 4 targets thing is going to annoy me though. I'll put the drones out, they can go and play with whatever. The frigates, hopefully. Yes, okay, they've identified a frigate to go and play with, this is good. Just have to watch the aggression on the drones, because this room kind of aggresses in strange ways. Like this lot at the back tend to aggress differently from the lot at the front. And the drones have split their fire, because of course they have. Because focus fire doesn't work and has never worked and probably never will work. Okay, drones are taking fire. I'm just going to bring them back. It looks like a lot of targets, but there's only like 5 or 6 cruisers in here. The rest of them are all frigates. And we're fine with our 47 kilometre range. Yeah, absolutely fine. I mean, you'll notice all these frigates are actually moving away from us. They're returning back to their starting positions. As I said, they're in kind of aggressive and strange ways. Okay, this one just suddenly targeted. So it looks like the rest of the middle group are going to get interested in dealing with us at some point. So I'm going to put the drones back out now. And I can go and finish that frigate. There they go. And what are they going to do now? Yeah, this lot at the back near the gate still have not aggressed. So I'll just wake them up with some missiles and drones. The tank's holding fine, as I knew it would, because of the fit we're using. I'm quite happy just sitting here. This is exactly where we spawned in. I have not moved a single millimetre since we dropped into the site. I like that the scout officer has blasters, even though he is a Caracal, he somehow has blasters. So, you know, pirate ships be strange. Well, that does mean he's come nice and close, which means I don't have to move very far to pick up the loot inside his wreck. Yeah, and in this case it was just the 7th tier's Overseer's personnel effect. The supply canister will just have random garbage in it. It's just nothing worth picking up. I think we can turn the shield booster off for a little while. I don't think we need to be repairing lots of shield. Everything left is just frigates. We'll just pick them off. There we go. Let's quickly reload my weapons. Just going to recall the drones now. I'll get these last 2 guys myself. And just go straight through the gate as soon as we get there.
Warp drive active.
And here we are in the final room of this site. Okay, this is the thing that drops the loot. We are 46 kilometres away, so I'm going to drop my mobile tractor unit and I'm going to try and snipe this thing from here. It's going to take quite a while for our missiles to make the journey there. This Guristas reconnaissance officer is not Tech 2, it is a fake boss. It's not the boss. The big telescope is, and in this site it is correctly marked, if you right click it, as a dead space overseer structure. This is the thing that drops the loot. So I'm going to just sit where I am and face tank with my shield and hopefully kill the telescope. Might be a bit of a struggle. I might put the drones out just to take care of some of the frigates. See, the frigates are on red because they're firing missiles at me, which means I'm going to be taking lots of damage from all these little frigates, so we'll just wipe them out with the drones. I should be able to tank all the cruisers. Possibly, how many is that? 7? 7 cruisers? Should be okay, I want to say. Just keep an eye on my shield. The DPS on the ship is perhaps a little weak for killing the telescope. As we see, it's taking quite a while. Mouse over. Missiles DPS is only 350. It's not great. Tank's kind of holding, and it will get better as the drones wipe out the frigates for us. But of course that does mean that the mobile tractor unit is now tractoring frigate wrecks, which is not something we really want. We just don't have enough DPS to kill the telescope before everything else breaks the tank. Telescope's just got too many hit points for us to do what I'm trying to do. Pretty close to getting 50% shield warning, which isn't going to be good. There it is. For some reason I had that turned off.
A module has run out of charges.
Okay, this hasn't really worked. I'm just going to scoop the mobile tractor unit and I'm going to just move my ship. We've run out of frigates to destroy. We've had to move. So, yeah, I'm just going to blow up all the cruisers. We're just going to have to do a full clear. It's unfortunate, but that's where we are. Didn't quite have enough DPS to pull off the sit still and snipe method. But it's not a big problem. We tried, we failed, so we just go again. We got the low shield warning again when we went back above 50%. Because the game's not quite smart enough to understand that it should only give you the warning when it goes below the threshold. But maybe it's a good thing. If you go back above the threshold, it tells you maybe you can turn off whatever you were needing to turn on when you got that warning. Okay, everyone just destroy the telescope, please. I'm just going to go and sit on top of it. Turn my afterburner off to preserve a little bit of capacitor. It had the range, they just didn't have the damage. And that's how it goes sometimes. Bring the drones back, we're just going to leave. There we go, site complete. That's the can we need. And we got 9.3 million ISK. That's terrible.
Warp drive active.
This site can drop modules which are worth 300 or 400 million ISK. But we got 9.3 that time. Right, let's go back to Jita and we'll have a look at how this ship performed. Right, made it home safe and sound. This ship works just fine. It runs sites in decent time. It can't quite do the mobile tractor unit and snipe method for the 4 of 10. I was kind of on the fence about even attempting that. In the end, we tried it. We didn't have anywhere near enough DPS to do that. We do only have 351 missile DPS, nowhere near enough. So we had to move. We did a bit of a full clear. We reduced the DPS down to the level at which the tank could sustain it, and then we sat on top of the telescope and finished it off that way. In total, from all these sites, we only got 11.2 million ISK. Really bad payout once again. I burned through almost all my missiles. I did start this adventure with 6,000 missiles. We're down to 702. That's because I've been playing with this ship for 3 days. That is how long it took me to get that one escalation. That was a struggle and a half. RNG wise, I mean the ship was not a struggle, it works just fine, the fit's solid. So anyway, that was the Caracal Navy issue. Come back next time and we'll do another pirate or faction cruiser for running pretty much the same sites in the same place. Let's hope RNG treats us better next time, shall we? Until then, do look after yourself, and I'll talk to you again very soon.